What's up, BGBers? My name is Art.
I am Rachel, and we will be your food critics today.
Welcome to another taste test wherein we review a game and give you our final thoughts as to whether that game is worthy of being plated and served up to your board game guests or not. Today, we are taking a look at coffee traders from Capstone Games designed by Rolf Siegel and André Speel, two Dutch designers. In this behemoth of a game that gobbles up table space like no tomorrow, we are acting as coffee traders seeking to bring our delicious coffee to the market under new fair trade standards. This is all done in 3 time periods or rounds with 6 phases to each round.
Phase 1, the work phase. You can build plantations, hire workers to cultivate those plantations, and breed donkeys, because the more donkeys you have, the more you can plant. Or you have the option of taking 2 coins or placing a civic hat in Sumatra. Phase 2 is super short. It's your final chance to place those remaining workers on plantations before the harvest. Phase 3, trader and contract phase, is where players take turns getting first dibs in the market and building buildings to help further their cause. But watch out, because others can piggyback on what you do in this phase for minimal to no cost.
Phase 4. In the harvest phase, it's all about those delicious coffee cherries, ready to be gathered, processed, roasted, and shipped out to happy customers. Depending on how many players you have, each plantation can produce from 2 to 3 coffee beans. So in a 4-player game, if you have 4 plantations, each with a worker in that region, it will produce 8 coffee to be distributed one at a time to each player who is in that trade track in that region, but not simply to the player who owns the plantation in that region. Some buildings and other bonuses help you get first dibs on some of those coveted coffee beans. In Phase 5, the contract phase, players take turns fulfilling contracts and delivering beans to coffee bars. Contracts give you money, points at the end of the game, Arabica tokens, and unlock bonuses depending upon the contract itself. Coffee bars award points, money, and sometimes animal tokens. Players keep delivering coffee until all players have passed. The first player to pass becomes the start player, and subsequent players that pass will be next in player order. Phase 6 is that refresh phase, where you get all of your cubes back, traders and contractors back, refill the bonus supply, and prepare for the next time period or round. Until 3 rounds have been played, then players count up points from their fulfilled contracts, milestones, coffee bar points, buildings, Arabica track, counter track, and score points based upon who controls what region.
I know you're probably feeling stuffed over that 6-course
I know
meal.
I'm stuffed.
Truth be told, this game has a steep learning curve, but mostly because of all the bookkeeping. After the first game, or even after the first round, it becomes easier to strategize and players take turns more quickly. After a few plays, we have really begun to understand the heart of this game and the diverse strategies to win this game. But first things first, let's talk about that 5-star restaurant price. This game retails at $120 or 110 euros. Which raises the question,
Yes, it does.
Are the contents inside this box worth that price? I will admit, with the massive footprint this game has when we first set it up, it looked impressive and a little daunting. When you open the box, you will find 387 wooden components, 117 cardboard tokens, 90 plastic coffee beans, 55 metal coins, good quality game and player boards. We think the coffee beans look awesome, the wooden workers are nice, and who doesn't like metal coins?
Who doesn't indeed? But for me, a few things do fall short, such as the action cubes. It's the only component that's just a simple cube. Why didn't they use cogs? It is the symbol for the cube. They could have used a plastic cog or a wooden cog. It would have worked out really well. This may be a small thing, but it's literally the only component that isn't theme-based, and it looks a little lackluster next to all the other tokens. There's also the player boards. It's almost unthinkable to me, especially in this day and age, with a board game this expensive, that it doesn't come with double layer boards. This is a recipe for disaster. If someone bumps the table or drops a game piece over the coffee warehouse, good luck trying to remember where those cubes were. Speaking of which, those cubes would have been really cool if they were plastic versions of the burlap sacks that coffee is normally stored in. Not to mention, having actual tokens to give the players would have made the coffee distribution phase in the harvest part so much easier. Lastly, there's the 2-player rulebook. The game is for 3 players and up, but there's a 2-player variant that uses bots. The bot has its own player board where we place the components on the rulebook itself. And my question is, why? There are so many small rules to remember in this game, and thankfully there's good iconography to help. But why wouldn't you have a separate player board for the bot's player board. If we are playing 2 players and can't remember something from the bot rules, we have to take everything off the player guide just to look inside the rulebook. For $120, this was a very frustrating discovery. To fix this, I recommend making a photocopy of the player guide.
Since we've already mentioned one rulebook, I might as well prepare you for the main rulebook. It was like reading a menu with 100 items on it in a foreign language, but they only put 3 pictures as examples in it. In the setup section, they highlight an area of the board where things should be placed, but don't give any pictures examples of the main board and the player setup. There are some great examples. I just wish there were more visual references to help things sink in. There are several rules that could use more clarification. For example, when there's a tie for who has the most quality in the region, it says that we should add and split the points, rounding up. What are we adding?
What are we adding?
If there's a tie for first, does that mean no one gets second place?
That's a good question.
I found myself needing to reread the rules multiple times, or him, before they settled in. Maybe a player aid would have also been helpful.
Definitely.
Well-written rulebooks make it so much easier to enjoy a game. There is for sure room for improvement here. As far as theme goes, coffee is something that we love. We both support our local roaster here that makes Third Wave coffee. We go to coffee cuppings and tastings, thus the theme plays a big role in our interest in this game. I'm happy to say that it's not just something that's slapped onto this game. I believe the theme comes through. You are helping regions develop their plantations, so you have to invest first, but then you also have to play the market to get those beans, or somebody else is going to get them.
I like fulfilling big contracts, like we received a big order from larger companies or bigger coffee shops. I also think sending specialty coffee roasts to the coffee bars is very cool. The mechanics are also good, as I like the area majority, the different tracks that provide bonuses, and I always enjoy a player board where we can unlock bonuses through building. The most intriguing part of the game, however, is the trade and contractor phase for me. There are so many interesting and strategic decisions to be made through piggybacking. In addition, something very unique to this game is the bonus supply on the player boards. This section offers 1 extra trader/contractor, 1 extra action cube, or 3 extra coins, but the rule is that you can only use 2 of them per period. Sometimes it is so hard to determine which one is the best one for you to use. This helps mitigate the thought of, oh, if I just had 1 more action or just 1 more trader, I would be set.
In the end, we really do think this game is a good game. It is a delicious coffee bean point salad, and anytime it hits the table, onlookers will want to ask what massive game you're playing. I can recommend this game to coffee lovers who have at least 3 people to play with. And if you like Euro games with a lot of moving pieces, bookkeeping, area majority, fulfilling contracts, and don't mind a 2-hour game. If you don't like those things, or you only have 2 players to play with, then I don't think this game is for you. This game will absolutely stay on our shelf because we are coffee nerds and have really enjoyed each time we've played this game.
Unfortunately, Coffee Traders does not receive our seal of recommendation, which we only give out to the very best of games. It is for a very specific audience. I think the contents in the box don't live up to the price and the tough rule book. I hope this taste test helps you in making an informed decision as to whether this specialty roasted game is for you. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, share it with someone, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss any of our sweet content. I'm Mark.
And I'm Rachel, and as always, stay hungry for more board games.
Thank you.